my baby gorillas. And oh my goodness, what a palaver this is. Not sure if this is going to look good or what. Yes! Hold on. Can you hear me? So that's the Silver Fox.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It's the last of the long forms of the day, so I will take this opportunity to ask that if you are yet to subscribe, please do so. The channel is growing marvellously with all the help from people just like you. And if you hit that subscribe button, we grow more, we get the voices out there, we go wider, we go further, we for men. Here's the thing, if the hate crime bill had a...
So what's happened here with this hate crime bill? This is absolutely disgusting. I don't think you understand how disgusting it is. This is illiberal. Don't forget, I told you I'm a libertarian liberal. So I believe you should have legislation that treats everybody the same, not that has protected groups. That's Nazi-esque. That is for the Nazis. Let me just see if we're actually hearing everything here. See what it looks like as well. Let's see this. YouTube. So your channel. Let's see if it's all coming through.
We'll build 10 HIDA links to your client's website. If you don't like them, you don't pay for them. No, seriously.
I've got a new lens. I don't think you understand how disgusting it is. This is illiberal. Don't forget. Whoa, we're in. So that sounds actually quite good. So I've got a new lens for the camera. So I think I told you I think it's coming up too much detail, but at least the green scheme seems to be working, or the blue screen seems to be working. Right, let's go. Let's see what Silver Foxy Loxy is saying. Nazis. Let me get out. Where are we? Silver Fox. Where is this? Silver Fox. Here we go. If you haven't subscribed to Silver Fox, I would that and that Preston journalist as well. There's some good channels.
If it included sex as well as all the other characteristics, you wouldn't need to rush through this desperate attempt to placate people by having a misogyny law.
But why would you have just a misogyny law? And it's a bit of a cheek, Hamza being a Muslim and talking about misogyny. I guess he would be exempt because it protects religious characteristics are protected. So if you're a religious misogynist, then it's okay, apparently. This is absolutely disgusting. So everybody is going to meet, apparently, and there's a protest outside the Parliament at 1:30 tomorrow. And everybody is meeting outside the Parliament to protest. The Conservative Party or members of the Conservative Party have brought forward a repeal bill so that they actually repeal this act and it no longer becomes law. And I don't support a standalone misogyny act either unless there's a misandry act. That is completely illiberal and that is misandrous in itself. The fact that you want specific laws for specific generics of people is absolutely disgusting. That's what the Nazis did. So you're a supremacist, you're not an equality, an equality, believe in equality, equalitist. You don't believe in equality if you've got rules for you and rules for me but not for thee. You're a supremacist. So you're a female supremacist. This is female supremacy with having a misogyny bill and not a misandry bill. This is not an equality thing. And what they're actually trying to do is actually have equity, not equality. So equity and equality are not the same thing. And by discriminating, you're still just discriminating.
Which also is divisive in and of itself. I'm going to suggest this misogyny law would be a hate crime, as it doesn't protect men.
Yeah, exactly. That's again, the Silver Fox is completely correct. This is completely sexist. And the fact that they've got the audacity to actually bring forward this by these blue-haired lesbian feminists who hate men anyway. The fact that and Hamza Yusuf being a Muslim, and the fact is that they want to cut off women's genitals and have sex slaves and have sex with 9-year-old children or prepubescent children is absolutely disgusting. And the fact is that you're not able to discuss this. The feminists aren't bothered about this. The feminists are only... this is a bunch of communist women, angry lesbian women who hate men, want to stir the pot between men and women, and want to bring this forward to actually disrupt the relationships between men and women so they can basically les them up like Joanna Cherry.
But wait, it does provide...
Again, you don't have this in lesbian couples. We already know that lesbian couples are very violent. Allegedly like Nicola Sturgeon, and they don't have these requirements in lesbian couples. This is an anti-men law by a person who is in a misogynistic religion. So this doesn't really make sense. Again, obviously the rules won't placate to him. Hamza's the most vilified individual under this new hate law. Thousands of complaints. The police have now got a standard script to rebuff any accusations of racism against Hamas Useless, who is obviously guilty as sin for racism. And now the rules, obviously, now that he's brought in the rules don't obviously apply to him.
He did.
And also, there should be a scrapping of another liberal policy is having non-crime hate incidents. Obviously, when the people in school were reading 1984, they must have thought it was a textbook rather than a warning. Because all these commie scumbags in Scotland are all, you think 1984 was what to do.
That those men pretend to be women, because Hamza is saying that transgender men, strange men in frocks who call themselves Susan, will be counted as women under the Misogyny Act. So poor old blokes get nothing yet again. The mentally ill get more protection than real women, and nobody cares. This is why this hate bill is so bad. Now, he's only mentioning this, of course, because he knows he's got this big discussion and vote tomorrow, and he wants to try and make things like...
So also the SNP have now almost decriminalised fraud because Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP have been stealing basically the SNP's contributions apart, allegedly, and we still have 30 months later and the police still haven't got any further forward with the case. So we've now got discrimination depending on your political leanings by the police, hence why Murdo Fraser has been given a non-hate crime hate incident by that wee poof in the dress for the Green Party.
Look, less farcical, I suppose is the word, than it currently is. So he's proposing to say, oh yes, we're bringing a law outside of the Hate Act that will stop women being abused, but will allow men who pretend to be women as well. What about men? Nothing. No, nothing. Why is he so scared? Why is he changing this all of a sudden? And why didn't he want women and sex being a protected item within the hate crime law?
Because his religion is misogynistic. And that's why they didn't want to do it. His child rapist death cult with sex slaves is a misogynistic religion. That's why. So because he's a Muslim minority, he's now lording over the majority of the indigenous population by bringing in his fascist Sharia, which is law, Islamic law, Sharia, and by the back door. And he's lording over by being racist and then getting the police not, when everybody reports him for being racist, then getting the police not to give out scripts saying, oh, he's not racist, which makes the police institutionally racist against the indigenous population. So there might be direct results of criminality amongst the police, that they're doing one law for one for another, which is illegal under international law. just so you know, Police Scotland.
We know, I've already mentioned it today, it's because if sex was protected, then you wouldn't allow strange men, regardless of how they wanted to dress, into women-only spaces. And that's not what he wants. He really is a weird, degenerate filthmonger, isn't he?
Yes, that's it. And the SNP have voted for him and Anus, who is exactly the same, two cheeks of the same asshole, as George Galloway would say, the leaders of their two political parties. And it just shows you what a bunch of donuts are in both these parties.
Let's have a look and see why it's just another joke of a law from a joke of a man.
Well, as I said, it was a great response when it came out on April the 1st. Tomorrow, the Conservative Party are going to try and repeal it. We've got this has already been supported by not just the doughballs in the SNP or the doughballs in the Labour Party, but also the GIMP Labour Party and the GIMP Global Islamic Marxist parties, the GIMP Labour and the GIMP SNP and the Tranny Commie Party and the Greens and the illiberal, liberal, undemocratic Democrats and the illiberal Liberals. And also we've got one of the Conservatives. The Conservative Party have been doing illiberal laws as well, so don't let the fake Conservatives off with it. They're just progressive conservatism. So what the progressive means communist or postmodernist Marxist on the back of that. So they're bringing it in. Don't think the Conservatives aren't a GIMP party as well.
Goes.
Is anybody here? What are you guys saying?
So I thought I'd get my...
Right, thank you, sir. No, nobody here. Let's see now.
My phone now. I'll show you around where I am in a moment, but I get asked the question a lot.
So transgender women will be protected under misogyny laws, says Hamza Yousaf.
Well, I don't think we should be protecting. There's another person tried to murder, another Muslim tried to murder a Christian priest. Another person was murdered by a Muslim in France. Not discussed. None of this is discussed. So there's no protection for white straight men, who are also a minority now in Scotland, or white straight women, again another minority in Scotland. These are deliberately discriminatory acts that give preferential treatment to certain groups over others.
So he doesn't really...
Supported by all of the scumbags in the Scottish Parliament, the Greens, the Labour Party, the SNP and the Liberals.
You want to protect women. And here's the thing. If you've got a woman calling a trans man a woman, a man who pretends to be a woman, and insults the man, will the woman be guilty of misogyny against a man? How can he possibly find this is acceptable? All that woman has to go to court and say, I'm being charged with misogyny. Yes, that's a man. End of story. And they'll go, well, it's androgyny then. No, there's no crime of androgyny. That's another...
But again, there shouldn't be laws to protect certain groups over others. There should be just laws to protect individuals from crimes. This is a bigotry because Hamza Yousaf is a racist and a bigot. So that's who, and so is Anus Sarwar. Anus, both coming from allegedly drug dealing families who have been given drugs and potentially killing Scots while profiting from it.
It's one of those genius works, isn't it, from a man whose brain just doesn't comprehend reality. Hamza Yousaf has confirmed transgender women or men will be protected under any new misogyny.
See, the thing about it is, as a heterosexual man, and I know I speak for the majority of heterosexual men, we're not interested in having sex with a trans woman. Not interested. In fact, I would go so far as that men need protected against people who are trying to pretend that they're something that they're not. Because I would never consent to having sex or kissing or doing anything of a sexual nature with a trans woman. Or a guy in a dress, a gay guy in a dress. So to me, that it would always be sexual assault and always be rape. There would never be a point where I would consent, or I'd have to be deluded enough to think a homosexual man in a dress is a woman. But if you don't understand what I'm saying, let me put it another way. If I get plastic surgery and looked exactly like your partner and then had sex with you would you be okay with that? If I'm the same sex as your partner, then surely that wouldn't be as bad as having sex with somebody else who wasn't your same sex. To me, having been sexually assaulted by women is not as bad, or nowhere near as bad as actually being sexually assaulted by a man. So I would not. To me, it's infinitely worse. Like a man in a dress, kidding on that he's somebody he's not. So that to me should be a criminal offence in itself. The pretending to be something you're not, to actually have sex in a physical manner. I don't think kidding on you're rich or you're a fighter pilot should be discriminated against.
Laws in Scotland. The First Minister said anyone affected by misogyny would be covered no matter their biological sex.
Well, then you would have to ban religion, because religion is very misogynistic, so especially Islam.
I don't think he understands what the word misogyny actually means.
Yeah, I don't think he knows where he is, to be honest with you. But anyway, this is the problem we've got. We've got an idiot, and the SNP have voted for an idiot to be the First Minister. And we've all had to have the unfortunate scenario of having this idiot instruct us on how we should be behaving as a society. And the way that it's looking is that the MPs down in Westminster are going to be decimated by this idiot, which is not really that bad, because there's a lot of other people in the SNP are just, I think, communists, or certainly postmodernist Marxists, and it's no loss for them to go either. So, but then we get a whole bunch. So we're now changing a whole bunch of doughballs in the SNP for a whole bunch of doughballs in the Labour Party, and it's really, as George Galloway says, two cheeks of the same asshole. So we've now got the problem of having these individuals now just swapping one left-wing party for another left-wing party, and it's the left-wing policies that are the problem. That's why when the Silver Fox and Craig Houston say, oh, we should just tactically vote, do not tactically vote for Reform UK, because only Reform UK has want to give us different policies. Switching from Labour SNP to Labour isn't going to change any policies. It's two left-wing doughballs put to policies, and they're both voting for the same policies as each other. Once you get past the unionists versus nationalists, which isn't a big problem for me being Scottish. So when the Silver Fox or Craig Houston or even that Preston journalist talk about nationalism or versus unionism, I don't care about that. That's not really affecting my life. They're not any further forward than the nationalist unionist argument. So it's all other it's all other left-wing nonsense that they bring with them that's the problem. It's a postmodernist Marxism, which is obviously getting taught through the universities, that's the problem. And then we got a whole bunch of doughball MPs who are effectively just left-wing MPs. And we're switching from one bunch of doughballs to another bunch of doughballs, and we're not actually changing the policy. Even if it was liberal, even if it was progressive conservatism, whatever that means. So they're just another gimp party. So don't just tactically vote. Vote for a positive change and vote for Reform UK. Don't stop voting for these. The problem is not going to be solved by switching from one left-wing party to another left-wing party. The problem is left-wing politics, and especially the type of left-wing politics which is this postmodernist, globalist, gimp, globalist Islamo-Marxist party policies that these are bringing in. So I don't agree with either Craig or the Silver Fox for just tactically vote to get the SNP out, because getting the Labour Party in is no change.
The Scottish Government wants to introduce a bill to tackle misogyny before the end of the current parliamentary term in 2026. He told BBC's Good Morning Scotland programme, women and girls will be protected. No, they won't. Unless you are going to have a safe space where no men can enter, regardless of how they dress.
Yeah,
then you will.
that's another thing. All these trans women, I've yet to see a trans woman in the male changing rooms if they think they're men. I've yet to come across a trans woman in a man's changing room. Doesn't happen. They can't obviously be that committed to the cause because I've never seen it.
Will not have a protection for women and girls. He said trans women will be protected as well, as they will often be the ones who suffer threats of R or threats of disfigurement, for example. I think
Where do you think it is, bang Pakistan?
you need to look at the figures to see that it is the trans that are the ones that do the most sexual attacks. You really aren't protecting women and girls, you're protecting the rights of trans people to attack women and girls. It's a very strange position to take. All you need to do is look at the evidence, you twonk. When a trans woman is walking down the street, when a man is walking down the street...
I'll leave that there. I'll let you watch the rest of that yourselves. I just wanted to make this a quick one so that we could have a quick chat. So I just wanted to put this up and get to the fact of coming tomorrow at 1:30 to protest and to support the Conservatives' repeal of this illiberal hate speech bill. And I think that's what we should be doing. We should be coming and supporting at 1:30. We'll be down there reporting on it 1:30 tomorrow, April the 17th. Come along, bring the kids, it'll be a fun day. And support the Conservative Party who have brought forward this repeal of this bill because it's been an absolute disaster for the police. This repeal of the bill tomorrow, Wednesday at 1:30. So come along and we'll get your thoughts on this. Obviously, it's been a disaster so far. There's been about 8,000 complaints. I think 6,500 were for Hamza Yusuf, which has now been ignored, and another 2,000 for Enos Sarwar for his racist speech, and then a few for J.K. Rowling. So let's finish this just now because I can't be bothered with this just now, and we'll have a chat about this tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing the people down at 1:30 tomorrow. Guys, subscribe to the Silver Fox.